This is a
Well,
word.
I'm sorry. I thought it sent you the program. Didn't I?
What? Are you ready? Okay, this is the
I'm
poetry.
ready.
The poetry on this song is by a woman named Becky Hemsley, and I just thought, wow, I bet I could put that to music. So hope you like it. When I'm older, I might not remember, I might get confused, I might lose my temper. There may be times when I don't know your name, because it's been trapped, locked away in my brain. And though it will hurt to think I could forget you, offer me smiles, hold my hand if I'll let you. I'll talk of adventures we had long ago, show me the photos of people I know. Play music we've danced to and songs we have sung. Read me books that I read when I was just young. 'Cause your voice and your words might just be the key that opens the door that unlocks it for me. And maybe the music will spark tiny embers of memories dormant, and I will remember your name and your face and the words to our song, the times and the places to which I belong. And it might last moments or minutes or more as the fire sheds a light through the crack in the door. But when the door closes and gone are the flames, when you are once more a stranger again, just know you'll have stirred something deep down inside, something familiar that I recognize, something that's real, that's not stored in my head, but right at the core of my heart space instead. Something that's stirred by your smiles and your stories, the touch of your hand and the songs you sing for me. And though I'll have no words to tell you, just trust that deep down inside I'll remember I'm so loved.
Thank you, Bill. That was wonderful, as usual. And so now we'd like to have our opening prayer. Rachel is going to give that, and we will follow that with Bill singing Surely the Presence and the Lord's Prayer. Okay, Rachel, thank you.
Just let's take a nice deep breath and go into that heart space where we know that the divine nature of us always resides. We're ever grateful for coming together as a spiritual community, whether it be in person or online, knowing full well that each of us is part of your divine nature. And as we hear messages today and beautiful music, may we be inspired to be that part of the divine and shine our lights as bright as we can. Knowing whatever challenges each of us are facing or come on our way, we are spiritual beings having an earthly experience, knowing full well that whatever it is, you are there with us and never leave us. We're never alone. And we have people that come to us and answers and inspiration and healing from all sources, from nature, from the shopkeeper, from the bumper sticker on the car in front of us, from our friends and family, to help us and guide us, as Bill said earlier, that we learn from each other. And we're grateful for this spiritual connection. So we thank you for this beautiful day, and may we all be in your blessing. Thank you, Spirit. Amen.
Amen. Surely the presence of the Lord is in this place. I can feel his mighty power and his grace. I can hear the brush of angels' wings. I see glory on each face. Surely the presence of the Lord is in this place. Surely the presence of a light is in this place. I can feel her mighty power and her grace. I can hear the brush of angels' wings. I see glory on each face. Surely the presence of a light is in this place. And the Lord's Prayer. Our Father and Mother, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts as we forgive our debtors. And leave us not in temptation, but deliver us from error. For thine is the kingdom and the power and the glory forever.
Thank you, Bill. That was beautiful. As always, you are fabulous. Okay, so I would like to continue now by reading the invocation affirmation, reminding you this is what we are. There is only one presence and one power active in my life, God the good, omnipotent. Next, there is only one presence and one power active in Unity Clear Lake Center, God the good, omnipotent. And finally, there is only one presence and one power active in our world, God the good, omnipotent. And then the 5 basic ideas of unity, which is actually the foundation of unity. God is absolute good, everywhere present. Human beings have a spark of divine spirit within them, the Christ consciousness within. Therefore, they are inherently good. Human beings create their experience by the activity of their thinking. Thoughts held in mind produce after their kind. Prayer is the process that affirms our consciousness with God mind and brings forth wisdom, healing, and everything good. And then finally, knowing and understanding universal laws, also called truth, are not enough. A person must also live the truth that he or she knows. And now let's continue, Bill, with a song.
Okay. Well, we just, the first song was about some of the problems we have as we're getting older, and they're not all physical. And this last one is thinking about what's on beyond. We have both been in love. This wasn't our first time. We both had stood up for better or worse. You had your family, I had mine. We didn't know we were in love for the last time. We've been through so much, life's troubles before, in love through good times and bad. You've gone, but I'm not sad. You're the only love I had. I will see you again. We know where, we just don't know when. A place where our love never ends. I will see you again. I will see you again. One of us had to go first. Being second is always the worst. We both knew after one was gone, who lived would have to be strong. It's always the living that must carry on. I will see you again. We know where, we just don't know when. A place where our love never ends. I will see you again. I will see you again. We know where, we just don't know when. A place where our love never ends. I will see you again. I will see you again. I will see you again.
Thank you. How to bring tears to my eyes. It is now time for me to read the daily word, which on this Sunday, June the 9th, 2024, is on prosperity. I focus on the goodness of God for everything, right? And know prosperity. Sometimes I may worry, wondering if I will have enough of what I need. If thoughts of lack or limitation arise, I lift my thoughts from the things of the world to the truth of God. I focus my mind on the richness of divine life within me. I feel calm and assured as I remember I live in an abundant universe and am heir to everything God is. Even when my worldly fortunes shift, I am abundant in spirit. As I align my thinking with divine mind in prayer, I become receptive to divine ideas that prosper me. I claim prosperity and feel empowered as I do. My prosperity stems from my oneness with God. I count my blessings and feel grateful and trust with understanding faith I have enough. And from Psalm 36:8, they feast on the abundance of your house, and you give them drink from the river of your delights. It's all about focusing on the goodness of God. And now it's going to be time for Dave Lyman. So here we go. Dave Lyman's from Sacramento, and he began speaking at our church in 2008. I did the math now. You've been a regular for 16 years, and you've always inspired us. And so of course, your talk, the challenge from God. David, thank you in advance. It's yours.
Thanks, Barbara. Good morning, dear friends. It's very nice to be here on this Sunday morning. And what a great day for prosperity, that the technology of the world is such that we can sit in front of cameras and still connect heart-wise. That's just amazing and magical. It's been since, as she said, 16 years since I started coming to speak. And what was really interesting is The first time I came, I actually brought my brother and sister with me, and they had never heard me speak before. In fact, they were still scratching their heads as to the quandary that I was actually a minister. They really couldn't get their heads around that. And so during my first talk, as Barbara sat in the front row, as she always did, and I tell this story every time, and I will continue to, there was scrabbling on the roof. I asked Barbara what that was, because I'm interactive. I'll talk to everybody during a sermon. She said it was the squirrels. And I said they probably thought I was nuts. And at that very point in time, it felt like the congregation adopted me, and I know I adopted this congregation. The title of my sermon today is The Challenge from God. One of the things we as human beings tend to forget is that this isn't a rehearsal. This is our current living full out. And God challenges us to find spiritual lessons in every aspect of our life. We get the best of both worlds. Beautiful colors and flavors from the material world, a lot of participation by our ego, and a divine inner world that carries us toward enlightenment. Remember, God makes us in his or her image. It means we have flowing through us the empowerment of all that is holy and sacred. Now we come to the quandary. Here we have the divine of who we are, limitless and filled with opportunity. But God says, well, I'll continue to give you a challenge. I know I'll put you in a temporary body that starts to break down after a while. And in order to work with it, you have to do self-care, something we are not taught as children. None of us have been to the place where our parents say to us, well, I know you're angry. Why don't you just go take some time to calm down? Never happened. The fullness of our lives have that ego and the spiritual. And it's much like Donnie and Marie Osmond, who used to say they were a little bit country and a little bit rock and roll. We're a little bit ego and a little bit spiritual. Yet if we take a breath, we're all spiritual. It's just some of it is ego-based and the spiritual is through the mist. I write a daily blog on a blog site called SeriouslyGod.net. It's about how quirky the world can be. And my wife edits all my blogs, thank goodness. She leaves me notes as she edits. And the other day she left me a note. She said, it's interesting how often the term authentic comes up in your writings. But it's a big part of who we are, being authentic. It's that wonderful quote, be yourself, everyone else is taken. The winds of change swirl all around us. And the truth is, all the people who show up in our life have an interest in working with us, but sometimes they're not comfortable with us. They ask us to do something and say, well, why don't you do it this way? Don't do that. Yet in our hearts, that which we want to do is the star and spiritual of who we are. So we can easily get to the point where we think we're a box, even though we're a star. This is why the term spiritual discontent comes. It's that place when, and all of us have had this happen, we may set a high-reaching goal and achieve it. We sit down and go, wait a minute, is that all there is? But in truth, it's the journey. It's the journey. And each goal we reach opens us to the next level. My wife and I have had a clear indicator of that as we've gone through these health challenges. Every time I think we've got to the depth of our love, the bottom drops out. And suddenly I realize, oh my gosh, there's a whole nother level of love. I say often to friends, I fell in love with my wife again today because I do. And we forget that it's not outward that we need to look to find the answers to all of this when God gives us challenges. It's inward. We're carrying it with us. But the truth is, we also have to settle into acceptance and surrender. Today, my mind handles one task really good. When I was in my 30s, I handled 10 really good. My new norm is a little slower, and I'll take it that way. As I sit on the back patio and watch my tomatoes grow and realize years ago I wouldn't have stopped long enough to let my feet touch the ground. And it's an interesting concept that many times when we find that which feeds us spiritually, we turn away from it. It's kind of like we go, oh, we'll pray when we need it. Oh, we'll connect with God when it's time. I'm reminded of Simon and Garfunkel. Slow down, you're moving too fast. You got to make the morning last. Kicking down the cobblestones, having fun and feeling grieving. Slow down, we're moving too fast. And in that moment when we find that which feeds our soul, it's the confusion that we don't make it a part of our daily practice always. That's the challenge. We don't always perform the steps to continually feed at our soul diner. The menu at our diner has been perfectly prepared for us. It's designed to provide full growth for spiritual development. And the menu takes into the account of every moment. There is nothing in our lives that does not provide spiritual development. But it means we must realize the one constant is change, and we need to show up with a new mind. Ephesians 4, 23 through 25 says, have a new mind and heart. Be a new person that has been made in God's image, because you have been made like God, and we are all a part of the same body. The question then becomes, in taking advantages, that we step into the challenges that are God-generated. God wants us to attain our full magnificence. So our attitude is really important. Now, if there's one thing I learned in the last 6 months in my challenges, and my wife can attest to this, I can get really morose and whiny and grumpy really quickly. It's all that puts me deep into suffering, and instead of turning to spiritual, I just grump. I forget everything in our life is generated by God, and this includes suffering. It is the only way to build a trust in God. It's that turning from the trust in our human side to living in the faith of God. It involves us knowing that with every fiber of who we are, God walks with us all the time. Everything, all the time. The Buddhists have a set of truths, and the first noble truth is most often rendered as English as life is suffering. I like to think it's more God giving us challenges to hone our sword. A blacksmith, when he's making a sword, puts it through more and more fire to make it stronger and stronger. And God uses the same thing. Even though I, of course, say, God, is there a different way we can do this? The Buddhists have a word called dukkha. Dukkha transforms to suffering. It's the stuff that flows downhill into your life when you're on the bottom and you go, really? Seriously, God? That Buddhist truth is even more, life does not satisfy. But life is not designed to satisfy. Spiritual growth, as we set into limitless possibilities is where it's at. We also tend to forget, for years and years, I tended to do it alone because when I was little, I learned, hey, I can always trust myself. I'm not so sure of anybody else. Now I've come to a point in my life when I realize, you know what? We can't do this alone. Our lives are a challenge to grow spiritually. And we're so intertwined with God, having been made in his image, that it doesn't get much better than this. It's just our perception is, oh, I stubbed my toe this morning. I'm not too happy. For me, it's, oh, I'm alive another day. I get a clear indicator of that because, as you all know, I'm on dialysis, which is just a great adventure. So 3 days a week I go in. And what I've learned is there is a spiritual growth in every time I go in, because every time is different. Every time they have to hook me up to the machine. And I have a fistula, which is a place on my arm where they do that. His name is Frankie, by the way. I've named him. He's from Brooklyn and he has swagger. He's wonderful. But it's adventure every time. And it's so easy for me to get really whiny and grumpy before I'm going, oh no, it's pure Eeyore. Oh no, it's my birthday. No one is going to remember. It's another glorious day. But it's so easy to slip into the rabbit hole of darkness. I call it a rabbit hole. And in the midst of this wondrous sermon, I throw out the thing that a line of rabbits taking one step backward across the horizon is a receding hairline. Sit with that for a bit. In that moment, we are surrounded by angels. The angels show up in many guises. They show up in different lengths of time. They are in all of our lives, and each angel is divided and designed to work with us. The angel may be our very best friend, our spouse, a stranger doing a kindness for us, or even a line from a book, a movie, a song, something that strikes us. That it reaches through the mist to clarify and make things ready for the next step. It's building our team is what it ends up being. And it's recognizing those angels. I was a hypnotherapist for some 8 years and had a thriving practice. During one session, I had a client that wanted to find her guardian angels. So we wandered through this surreal landscape and ended in a place of woods in her trance. In a clearing was a door. We approached the door and I asked the client to slowly open the door. When she opened the door, the room was filled with angels. They all turned around and they were jumping up and down, filled with joy, yelling. We heard words like, "Oh my God, we've been waiting for you forever." And "You've arrived at last." And another saying, "We're here for you. Now you know." I get goosebumps just explaining that when that happened. The joy you saw in her face when she realized she had never been alone, that her life had always been filled with angels that stepped into her life from different places. So my client felt as if she'd been reconnected with parts of her that had been missing. They weren't really missing. She just forgot about them. So this week, I challenge all of us to start an angel list. sit and think of your life. And each of you have people in your life that made a difference. For me, it was my journalism teacher in high school who saved me, or I'm pretty sure I probably would have committed suicide. But she stepped in and changed my life. All of us have people like that. Those are our angels. They never stop showing up. Spend the week putting together your list of names and situations that have occurred in your life that allowed you to be here on this journey to spirit. Build your list. Be joyous with the knowledge you've never been alone. Look at all these people here this morning. You've never been alone. It's just that for some reason we put on a pair of horse blinders and all we can see is like this. It's tunnel vision. But when we take the horse blinders off, it's like, oh my gosh, it's a party. And even though you don't know it, you're the one that sent out the invitations. In God's name. So now it is the time to live your life with your full support team, to recognize the team as it shows up, to recognize when God challenges you in a different kind of way, and to know that every perception of suffering is truly a chance of limitless opportunities to grow to that next level. Build your chance. This is your chance to build your angel team. Just so that you know who it is. Add people to it all the time. Have it at your house. Put it on your refrigerator. As if your 5-year-old has done a color crayon drawing, but it's your angel team. And so that's your homework. Blessed be. Namaste. And so we move in all that material that I gave, that are swirling around in your head right now, to a place of quiet. I would ask that each of you take a deep breath. I would ask each of you to turn inward. To drop down within. Knowing there is an inner world that you carry with you always. This inner world is your direct connection to spirit. It is the outlet that plugs you in to God. Take a deep breath and just allow yourself to, as you exhale, slip into that place. Imagine, if you will, there is a door. Perhaps you only feel the presence. Perhaps there is a vision for you. Perhaps there is nothing you see. But no, there is a door. And behind that door is the angel party, all gathered together because they've realized that today your assignment is to make sure they're ever present in a deeper way. Breathe into that. Breathe into that truth that you are not alone Take a breath and feel the presence of those angels. You can feel the throbbing of angel electronic music because they're having a good time over there, getting ready to come see you. Know they will show up in the most interesting ways and at the most interesting times, and give thanks. We give thanks, sweet spirit. And as we breathe into that, we give thanks that God walks with us in heart, in depth, in providing us with the most powerful team we could ever imagine. And it is our team, here to expand us, to challenge us, to take us into a stronger place where we are a rock as we sit in this place. We take another breath and allow the reconnections with angels to continue, and know they will burst like little bubbles in the coming week. As perhaps we're in a checkout line and somebody does something incredibly kind, and we go, whoa, there's an angel. Or we read or hear a word from a song and we go, whoa, there's an angel. Have fun expanding your angels. And so as we take another deep breath, we give thanks. We are filled with gratitude. And we open as we start to come back into our bodies in a conscious way, in a mindful way. Each breath bringing us more and more into our bodies. Each breath knowing that it will give us the opportunity to spend the rest of the day just thinking about angels. And what better thing to think of? And so as we take another breath, we allow ourselves to come back into this Zoom meeting, fully present, fully active. In my favorite terminology, having been in an afternoon nap with our favorite blankie and our favorite teddy bear, knowing that somewhere there's a chocolate chip cookie. And so it is. And so it is. Back to you, Barbara.
Okay, David. Yeah, you're an angel. You know that. I have a new perspective. I know I've got angels and guides and spirit and Jesus and everything, but the whole angel thing, that was beautiful. And as I say, you are beautiful. So what's going to happen now? Of course, we're going to, go through a few things, some announcements and things. And then at the end, Bill will sing the peace song is what he does. And then just stay for a chat. But take a deep breath. Okay. It's wonderful. You're wonderful. You're an angel, Dave. That's for sure. So announcements would be that future speakers in this wonderful, joyful June, like next week, Patricia will be at church. The masculine aspects of God. It's a happy Father's Day, everyone. And you're invited to stay after for fellowship and a potluck. That's next Sunday. And then our next Zoom Sunday on June the 23rd will be Carrie Hillary. And we know that she's a wonderful musician and very inspiring. That's our Zoom service at 10:30. Shining Our Light is the talk of her talk. And yeah, she's terrific. So that'll be our fourth Sunday. Well, it's a 5 Sunday month, so we will again meet at church. Our community Sunday will be with Sarah Merlin, and when you attend a service with Sarah, you do not know what to expect. She brings a bag of tricks. She is so much fun, and she's always got live music. And I'm not even going to tell you some of her ideas about what the live music's going to be. But anyway, it's truly a community Sunday, and we hope you'll join us at church. So heading on down. Oh, yes, donations are greatly appreciated. So just mail them to Unity, P.O. Box 755, Lower Lake 95457. That's P.O. Box 755, Lower Lake, Unity 4, Unity, wait a minute, 95457. I think I'm getting excited. And yeah. Wow. Terrific. Okay. So now the prayer for protection, something I enjoy saying to myself and for others if I feel a need to send out prayers to them throughout my day, as I'm doing right now for my granddaughter. So it begins, the light of God surrounds me. We say it. I am the light of God. The love of God enfolds me. I am the love of God. The power of God protects me. I am the power of God. The presence of God watches over me. I am the presence of God. Wherever I am, God is, and all is wonderful. And now, Bill, would you sing our closing song?
Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me. Let there be peace on earth, the peace that was meant to be, with God as creator, family all are we. Let me walk with my family in perfect harmony. Let peace begin with me. Let this be the moment now. With every step I take, let this be my joyous vow, to take each moment and live each moment in peace eternal.